The landscape of prop firms is changing dramatically, and there are two new plans I want to review today with you. One is set in stone that has been rolled out. I think it's kind of cool, but we'll talk about it. The second is a rumor that could happen, I think probably will happen, and will be very exciting for traders. Now, I have two questions for you that I want you to answer in the comments below. Number one is, would you use either of these new prop firms or their plans? And number two, which prop firms are in the most trouble if these plans get picked up? Which firms could lose the most traders? Let's get into it. The first prop firm we're going to review is Funding Ticks, and I saw Nutty Bar Trading roll this out on his page. Thought it was really interesting, and they're rolling out a 1 day to pass. Now, if you guys have been following me for any time, you know I love a 1 day to pass. You should be able to pass any eval in 1 day if you have the skills or the strategy to do it. So that is great. Now, there are no consistency rules for the evals, no reward caps. It's kind of weird they call them reward caps instead of payouts. No required buffer, no activation fees, and you can't trade news 2 minutes before or after it's set to be going out just for the funded account. Okay, and you can't hit the daily loss limit and don't hit the max loss. So I'd never actually heard of Funding Ticks before. It feels like there's a new prop firm every day. So I wanted to look them up, and the first thing I did is I Googled Funding Ticks, obviously. And what I noticed was that they're actually in the UAE. They're not in the US, which is interesting, isn't a bad thing. We've all used, if you traded Forex before, I'm sure you've used a overseas broker, offshore broker. So nothing new, but just, something interesting to keep your eye on. So we go to their website, and a pretty decent, very nice UI. I love that it looks great. Like looks more like a software company than anything, which is kind of what prop firms are at this point with their subscriptions. Kind of complicated to understand some of the rules and what's going on. So the zero plan is what we were just looking at. $2,000 daily loss limit, I believe, is going to be like 1,500 or 1,000. So that will be there. Consistency rule on rewards is 25%. So kind of interesting there. You can't have a humongous day, which is pretty typical for some of these firms. You can trade up to 3 contracts, and with them, and what Nutty Bar had mentioned is you could have up to $300,000 or $400,000 in 300K in allocation. So if this is 25K accounts, I could have 4 times 3. I could have 12 accounts going at once, or I could have 300K accounts going at the same time. And then there are max payouts. Now, the rules don't really give us a whole lot for each size of account. Here are the reward requests. So for the first payout for 25K account, it's $1,000. It's $2,000 for the 50K, and then $2,500 for the 100K. You don't really get a whole lot more for the 100K other than $500 each time. So interesting. The 25K account doesn't move on their rewards at all, so that just kind of is what it is. But there isn't a whole lot around like how this works as far as payouts go and anything else. Even if you go to the frequently asked questions like any other prop firm would have, and you just type in payout, you don't get anything. Like nothing shows up. So I don't know how trustworthy this firm would be, but really interesting concept as far as being able to pass in 1 day. They call them rewards, so being able to get a payout and then having kind of a tiered payout system that they've got going on. It feels like all the prop firms are going to be going to this, like you can only have so many funded accounts, and you can have a payout. You have a payout cap per account. That is the most, I think, long-term feasible way for these companies to be doing it. But of course, a payout cap will put a hamstring on how much you can make, and having a certain amount of accounts that you can trade from really does kind of dampen the potential of this prop firm, along with how expensive it is. The Tradeify co-founder put out a tweet earlier this morning as well, talking about a brand new plan and concept that they could roll out. Now, some of these things I think are unrealistic, but some of them are pretty cool. I'd love to see this happen. So thinking of a new plan called 10X for Tradeify. No consistency rules, 1 day to pass. I love that, of course. No profit buffer, huge. Uncapped payouts, that's crazy. And first payout 10x. This would be unbelievable. So your first payout, if it was $2,000, you would get 20K and so forth. Okay, run it to $1 million, we send 10 million. Could be fun, could end us, might try it anyway. Now, rolling out a plan or an account type like this seems to be the new trend. 0 days to pass, consistency rules might be going away, activation fees may or may not be included. He didn't say no activation fees, so we can assume there is going to be one, but no profit buffer. I think a profit buffer is maybe the most criminal thing in prop firms. And so if those get eradicated and there are no more of those, you as a trader will just get more money. That's just the way it goes. But what's also going to do is make the landscape of prop firms more competitive. And so they're going to have to start doing things like 10xing a payout, right? Or helping you get funded faster so you can get more payouts, or allowing you to copy trade more accounts. as these prop firms get more competitive, us as the consumers, us as the traders, we win. So let me know what you think. Would you use either one of these prop firms? And which prop firms are in the most trouble if TradeFi specifically rolls out this plan?